Hey guys, Geoffrey here. In this video, I want to show you how you can save your relationship by focusing your efforts on removing this number one killer in relationships. And I want you to stick around to the very end of this video because this is a very crucial concept that you have to understand if you want to save your relationship. And it's the one concept that we prioritize in our program the most. And it's the one concept that's not only allowed my clients to really save their relationship despite being in very dire situations, but it's what saved my life as well. So if you are new to this channel, my name is Geoffrey and I help men in long-term relationships or in marriages with the right skills, with the right mindsets to be able to design a thriving relationship for yourself. So if you want more content on this topic, be sure to subscribe to this channel and also click that bell button as well to be notified when I post new videos every single week. And before I begin this video, I also want to let you know that the masterclass on the 5 proven steps to rebuilding your relationship from the ground up is still open. So if you want to join that masterclass or if you want to submit your application for the Relationships Revival program that I have, then be sure to stick around to the very end of this video for the announcement on how you can join both those things. So again, what is the number one killer in relationships? And that number one killer is really what we call the fundamental attribution error. What is that? It sounds like a big term, but it's actually a very simple concept. And it's something that happens so often that scientists have dubbed a name for it. And the fundamental attribution error essentially is our tendency to blame other people's behavior or other people's mistakes, other people's toxic behavior usually, to issues of character or personality. But whenever we do the same things, the exact same things that other people do, we tend to blame it not on character and personality, but we tend to blame it on some external situational factors. Now, to give you a few examples of how this looks like in your life, let's pretend that you're driving. And when you're driving, someone changes lanes really fast and they are driving really, really fast. Now, when you look at that driver, the most common thing people will say is, man, what an asshole, what a dick, what a terrible person. So instantly here, without knowing any context about that person's life, what is going on in that person's world, etc., when we see other people's actions, we instantly blame it to an issue of character, instantly, without even thinking. Now, I don't know about you, but I have found myself in positions where I drive fast, where I have to rush somewhere. But whenever I drive fast, whenever I forget to use my blinkers, for example, whenever I make a sudden right turn or left turn, I never blame it to the fact that I'm an asshole. I always tell myself, oh, it's because I have this reason, I have that reason, or because this, whatever it is. And I'm sure many of you looking at this story is gonna relate to this too, because many of you may find yourself doing the exact same things. And this is just the way our brains work. Our brains, no matter how complex it is sometimes limited, and it falls prey to the fundamental attribution error quite a lot. Another example of this is in relationships is stonewalling. If you've been watching my videos for a while, you will hear me talk about stonewalling quite a lot. You know, when we look at videos of stonewalling, the videos of stonewalling usually categorize stonewalling as something that is abusive, something that is narcissistic, and my videos tend to disagree with that. And the reason why is, let's say that your partner is stonewalling you. So she's avoiding you, avoiding conversations. We instantly see that as a character issue. Oh, she's a bad communicator. She's a terrible communicator, right? She's trying to be abusive. She's trying to be narcissistic. But think about moments in your life when you have stonewalled, when you have either actively or subconsciously avoided conversations, shut down conversations, walked away from conversations. And I'm sure you've done this quite a lot as well in your life. But whenever you do it though, if you really think about it, you do it because maybe the other person's really difficult to talk to. Maybe you don't have the ability to really express and understand how to express what you're thinking. Maybe you are low on energy and you're like, oh, whatever, I don't want to talk about this anymore. Maybe you feel hopeless. I mean, there's so many other situational factors that you assign to stonewalling if you're the one stonewalling. But if other people are stonewalling you, it's abuse, it's narcissism, it's a character problem. Now, there are so many other examples of this in life that I can cite here. And I face this a lot in my life as well, where when it comes to entrepreneurship, for example, when I was starting to make YouTube videos, I used to look at other YouTubers, and whenever they would make a mistake on camera, whenever they would say something offensive, whenever they would say something that's like not expressed in the best way, I would be very critical of them. And I would be quick to blame character and say, oh, something is wrong with them. But once I started making my own videos, and I realized how difficult it is to actually put words on paper and also put words in video, and for it to be able to please everyone like this, it's really, really hard. And so whenever I say something wrong, whenever I say something that's not the best, I give myself so many excuses, so many situational factors of why I did that. But if it's other people, I was so quick to judge. And I'm sure if you really pause this video right now and really think about how this applies to your life, you'll find that you fall for the fundamental attribution error quite a lot. So if this resonates with you on a deep level, I want you to leave a comment below and tell me what you find. Tell me all the fundamental attribution error stuff that you find in your life as well. So when we understand this concept of the fundamental attribution error a bit deeper, we can start to understand also how this kills relationships. Because number one, when we are very quick to blame character like this, whenever issues come up, whenever conflicts come up in relationships, we instantly make it very personal. And when we make it something very personal because we blame character, we make people very, very guarded, very, very defensive. And so you're finding here that whenever there's an issue in your relationship and you try to bring it up and your partner starts to get either shuts down or really starts to get angry, shows all these defense mechanisms in your relationship, it's usually because they sense either consciously or subconsciously that you're blaming their character, you're attacking that character. And they can sense that because this fundamental attribution error is playing up in your head. And of course, if people are very guarded like this, it's gonna make it very impossible for you to have any productive conversations between the two of you. And the second reason why this wreaks havoc in a relationship is that issues will suddenly seem very difficult to resolve. Because the fundamental truth of this is character is very difficult to change, at least compared to environments. So if you really believe here, deep down, that some mistake, some issue in your relationship is due to some issue with character, you will start to panic and get depressed and get overwhelmed just thinking about it, just thinking about how you can change someone's character. You know, when I was first starting my relationship with my current partner, for example, she used to be someone who would be late a lot to appointments. And whenever I looked at that, I always saw that as, okay, this is something wrong with the character. And I told myself like, oh, she's just someone who doesn't respect time. She's not very responsible. She's childish, whatever it is. And instantly when I think that, I think about, okay, what do I need to do to actually change her character? Is she going to be the right fit for me, etc., etc.? And it just becomes overwhelming just thinking about, oh my gosh, what if things never change and how do I change it? Issues will become very difficult to resolve if you think all issues are based on character problems. And number three, when you feel this panic, it'll be very difficult for you to become bulletproof. You know, when you start to blame that driver, for example, that driver's character on why he's driving like that, instantly you will lose your emotions. If you blame your partner's character like that, instantly you will lose your emotions. It's just a natural artifact of the fundamental attribution errors that you can never be bulletproof if you fall for it. And number four, because your partner is now defensive and you are feeling not bulletproof, it starts the blame game where you blame your partner's character, your partner feels attacked, gets defensive, she blames your character, you are not bulletproof, so you feel attacked and you attack her back, because all the while here, your nightmares become self-fulfilling prophecies. Your confirmations that it's a character problem. When she reacts badly to you blaming, that will just confirm your suspicions that it is a character problem. And so it just perpetuates this negative cycle where it destroys safety over time. It makes everything very difficult to resolve. It makes you both very angry and increased bitterness, resentments build. It's just havoc all around. And this is why I say this is really the number one killer of the relationships, because this is really the cycle that you go into where you react badly. As you react badly, you destroy that emotional safety and trust. And as you destroy that emotional safety and trust, as we discussed in so many of my videos, that will create a lot of hopelessness. And when you create this hopelessness, when you destroy the safety, the need to self-preserve, the need to defend yourself on both sides grows. And that will lead to a lot of toxic behaviors. And a lot of the toxic behaviors, as we talk about in just a bit here, is really usually caused by some environmental issue of the lack of safety rather than the fact that it's a character problem. And so if you destroy safety and trust, all you're doing is just worsening the root cause of why the toxic behaviors come up in the first place in your relationship. And so as you watch your partner's behavior get worse, then your own fundamental attribution error here gets reconfirmed. So let's say your partner stonewalls you, and you think the stonewalling is a character problem. And so you react badly to it and you start to lecture, you start to get angry, you start to coach your partner to say like, oh, you can't do that. You can't stonewall. You destroy safety on your partner's part. You play the blame game. As you destroy safety, if let's say, and most of the time it is, the reasons for your partner stonewalling is because she doesn't feel safe to talk to you, then she will stonewall even more. And when she stonewalls even more, you will say, I knew it. And that's actually the worst part of the fundamental attribution error, is that most people are falling for this and they're creating this very toxic culture in the relationship, but they don't even know it. Because the nature of the fundamental attribution error is that it's always other people's fault. It's always their character's fault. It's a problem with them. And so people are in this cycle, but they never even know it. And we call this in our program the blind victim illusion. Now, if we know how toxic the fundamental attribution error is, let's talk about how we can start to get rid of it. Now, the first thing I need you to do is to really understand that bad actions in life, in your partner's side or your side, are rarely because of some character issues. And it could be really difficult for you to understand this right now. So to understand this, I want you to ask yourself and look within with me a little bit here. Have you lied before in your life? And the answer from all of you here should be yes. You should all have committed some either lies of omission, where you're purposely or subconsciously even sometimes leaving out the truth, or maybe you are committing lies of commission in different levels, where you're bending the truth, you're telling falsehoods. And if you're saying that you haven't lied before, then I want you to know that you're actually lying right now. Everybody has lied before. Now, when you look into why you lie, either lies of omission or commission, you have to ask yourself, okay, do I lie because I'm an asshole here? Or do I lie because maybe the person I'm talking to, I know will not get it. I know will not take it well. And I don't want to deal with the wrath of this person. Maybe this person will misunderstand what you're really saying, what you're really trying to say. Maybe this person will blow it out of proportions, right? So maybe it's a lack of safety and trust. Maybe you don't even know what the version of the truth is. So you leave some information out, not because you are trying to leave it out, but you're subconsciously doing it because you don't even know what to say. Maybe you're bending the truth a bit because maybe you're not clear on what the real version of the truth is yourself. So here, when you become introspective and you really start to understand and look into why do you lie, you start to figure out all these reasons of some circumstantial or situational, external factors that leads to people lying. Now, if you can see that for yourself, I'm sure now you can start to see it for why other people lie, why your partner is leaving the truth out, why your partner doesn't feel safe telling you the truth, the real truth, the full truth. Or maybe she doesn't have the ability to tell you the real truth. So now lying doesn't become this black and white thing anymore where, oh, it's a character problem. But there's so many gray areas, so many other situational factors that could affect this as well. Now, another example is, why do you stonewall? We talked about this earlier already. If you look within, you will have stonewalled before. I have stonewalled before, where because maybe I think that the other person will not understand what I'm saying, maybe they won't take it well, maybe I'm feeling already so hopeless with this person, maybe I don't even have the ability or the energy to be able to express fully what I'm feeling, what I'm thinking, etc., to have this conversation right now, and I shut the conversation down. If I look within to see why I do the same things, you will start to understand why your partner does the same things and be more compassionate towards it. And so the first step to removing the fundamental attribution error is your ability to really look within and realize yourself that you are doing the same mistakes, making the same mistakes, doing the same things that your partner is doing. But when you do it, you have a very good reason behind it. You just need to extrapolate this reason to your partner, to the other people now. In fact, if you apply this rule to any other situations in your relationship, something that your partner does that annoys you, you'll find that it applies very, very well. And it makes you compassionate really, really fast. So if you apply this, like, why do you blank? Insert your partner's behaviors here. You will find this works for anything in relationships. The second thing that I want you to realize is the power of environments over our behaviors. And when you change your environment, you can also change people's behavior in a very massive way as well. And we see this a lot in many different scientific studies, scientific research on this topic. So for example, you have something like the Stanford Prison Experiment. And if you're not familiar with this, look it up. Look up some videos on YouTube about this. Basically, it's showing how normal people, people who are civilized, who are kind, who are gentle, who are compassionate in real life, when you change their environments and when you make them into prison guards, for example, they can become abusive, they can change their behavior completely in a very negative way. And in the same way, when I look at my own life, for example, and when you look at your own life, I'm sure you can think back to your past, to your history, and really see how your environment has really changed your behavior, has really determined your behavior as well. And for a lot of my clients as well, they find the same thing happening to their own life, but also when they start to change their behavior and change their behavior to change the culture, the structure, and the environment of the relationship, they're often very, very surprised at how much their partner's behavior changes as well. And I'm always very shocked at how much my partner's behavior changes as well when I change the culture, the environment of the relationship too. And the third realization I want you to have here is that when you look at good leaders and good companies and successful leaders, successful companies, even my business as well, you'll find that good leaders always focus on environments, focus on culture. Let's look at a few examples to really understand this. Let's look at the ATM machines. If you go to an ATM machine, the funny thing you'll find, and most of you don't realize this, is that they will make you, the machine is designed to make you take your card first. And after you take a card, does the cash dispense. Now, the reason why they have this is that in the beginning, they actually had this so that it dispenses the cash first, then you take your card. But what happens? People left the card in the ATM machines all the time. Now, if let's say the bank managers and the ATM designers were to say, you know what, people are just forgetful. People need to stop being so forgetful. So if they blame people's character, they would not have come up with any solutions to this. But instead they thought, I wonder how we can change the system, the environment, so that it makes it harder for people to forget their card. So they changed the order to where now the card dispenses first, then your cash. Once they do that, it changes the game completely. Another thing that you might not have realized, if you look at delivery trucks, in the US here we have things like UPS, FedEx, DHL if you're in Europe, whatever it is. You will see that those trucks never ever make left turns, or in Asian countries, right turns. Why is that? Because left turns are slow. You have to wait for the incoming traffic. Some places, the incoming traffic never really ends. While a right turn in the US is you can make a right turn on red if you want. And so the reason why they got to this solution was because the drivers were slow and they were not making their time. But instead of the managers looking at this and going like, oh, they need to just drive faster and be more aggressive on the road, they said, how can we change the system here? How can we change the environment here? And once they change their environment, it changes everything. It changes the whole game for them. And in my own relationship, I do the same thing as well. So whenever she makes a mistake, I make a mistake, whenever something happens in our relationship, we ask ourselves, okay, what is the system? What is the environment that is broken that we can change to fix things? So if my partner is always late, how can we change their environment? If we're forgetting to do chores around the house, how can I change their environment to make it easier to complete the task? If my partner's stonewalling me, how can I change the environment to create more safety, to be able to allow her to express herself even more, even better, even more openly, etc. So I never blame character. We always blame environments. We always ask ourselves, what can we change about the environment, the culture, to make this a bit better? Now, when you get rid of the FAA bias like this, a great thing happens, because now whenever conflicts happen, issues happen, the issues become less personal very fast, and there's no more need to be defensive anymore, to play out the very toxic behaviors. And you also find it easier to come up with solutions to your problems. You know, it's really hard to come up with solutions to change character, but it's very easy to come up with solutions to change the environment, to change the situation. And you can do that today, in one day if you wanted to. You can just change your situation today, but you can't change character overnight. It creates a culture of teamwork here, where it's no longer you versus your partner, but now it's you and your partner versus the problem, versus the environment you're trying to change. And as you do this, what happens is you'll find not only does your partner's behavior change, not only do you find a lot more win-wins, you'll find things to be more effortless, and this FAE bias, the fundamental attribution errors, becomes a self-negating thing, where you slowly believe it less and less and less and less, which makes it easier for you to make issues even less personal for the next time. Now, the one thing you have to note here is that when you're watching this video and you realize here that you are falling for the FAE bias for all this time in your life, you have to understand that the culture that you have destroyed did not get destroyed overnight. And you cannot just flip a switch today, tell yourself, I'm gonna break the fundamental attribution error and expect everything to change overnight. Right? There's still a lot of confirmation bias on your partner's side. So I want you to actually make getting rid of your fundamental attribution error into a lifestyle for yourself. And you need this because the fundamental attribution error is really hard to catch. It's really hard to spot, because by definition, most people don't even know they're falling for this. And most of you don't even know how much you're actually falling for this right now, most likely. And so you need a lot of time, a lot of practice to be able to change this culture internally for yourself. And once you change it internally for yourself, then you can change it externally. But even then, that will take a while for that culture to start building too. But if you want to hear more stories about how removing the fundamental attribution error has really helped not only my life, but also my client's life as well, I want you to watch my client stories. I'm gonna put a link to it above my head here so you can watch it. And if you want to learn the system that not only allows you to learn and go deep into understanding how to get rid, how to spot the FAE bias, but also get rid of it, and other biases and other mindset shifts that you need to have to really design a thriving relationship and to really save your marriage, despite no matter how dire your situation is, I want you to join me in my free masterclass in the 5 proven steps to rebuilding your relationship from the ground up. In that masterclass, I'll show you the exact process that all my students have used to gain massive results. And at the end of the masterclass, you can also have the opportunity to submit your application for the Relationships Revival program if you want to join our program as well. So if you want to check out the masterclass, if you want to submit your application, feel free to check out the link I have above my head right now, or also down below this video as well. And if you're looking for a guide that can help you guide conversations better in relationships, you can also check out the guide I have for you above my head right now. And finally, if you want to join me in a community where I will have a member of my team answer your questions, etc., you can also check out the link to the Facebook group I have down below this video. In the meantime, if you found this video helpful, like it and subscribe to this channel for more content like this one. And if you have a comment, if you have a question, feel free to leave a comment below. I would love to hear from you. In the meantime, I will leave you with these 2 other videos with more content, with more knowledge, mindset, skills, etc., for you to design a thriving relationship for yourself. In the meantime, I will see you in the next video.